Hey, what's up? This is Todd Smith. I'm back with another video. In this video, I want to speak about my multi-pad iOS ecosystem, where I have two iPads running at the same time. I want to explain why I have this and the general connections and setup. I've done a few videos in the past touching on just one iPad and the setup and connections evolved with that, and I will link that video down below. I figured most people will have one iPad and that's what they're going to want to do. But you might have noticed when I record my jams, I actually use two iPads. And in this video, I'm going to explain how I use two iPads within my setup. The first thing I want to say is these are very adaptable devices. They can be whatever you want them to be. How I use multiple iPads could be completely different than the next person and how they use it. And that's the one great thing about these iPads, how adaptable they are, how changeable they are. And this video jumps into how I use multiple iPads within my setup. I've run a lot of the same programs that you see me display in a single iPad setup. In fact, the same exact programs. The thing is, I spread them across two iPads. This lessens the workload on each iPad and allows me to push each program a lot harder and a lot farther. If I multi-track with Aria Pro and use Core Gadget as a groove box all on one iPad, which you've seen in many videos with this iPad Pro, obviously I can only push it so far. The iPad technology is kind of limited compared to a laptop. You just don't have the power and the workhorse. I believe iOS is going to continue to evolve and it will eventually have the power. But right now, eventually I start to push the single iPad too hard. So eventually, I evolved onto two iPads to spread the workload out, and these are each iPad Pros. The iPad Pro up above, the one with the white border, it always runs Aria Pro. All the audio and storage is for Audio Pro. So I have a bunch of memory in there. All it does is run Aria Pro. I can run lots of channels, lots of effects, and I'm allowed to do that because I'm not running multiple apps. I'm not pushing it by running 4, 5, 6 different apps at the same time on the iPad Pro. I'm running just Aria Pro. This gives me the capability, if I pull in a little closer, all these blinking lights are active recording channels. I have 5 active recording channels right now. I have Core Gadget right here. Then I have the Waldorf, which has effects. And then same with the microKORG. Sorry about that, guys. I gotta put loop on. As you can see, I was recording multiple channels at the same time, and I'm able to push that harder, push it farther, because I have each iPad running individual apps. Not having to run them at the same time on the same iPad just gives me more workhorse, more work power, basically doubles my work power. So when I really got serious about, just working within the iPad ecosystem, I realized I would need two iPads purely to spread the workload across multiple iPads for the multi-tracking and the groove box structure I get from Core Gadget. With a single iPad setup, a USB wire into an audio interface will handle all the audio and Midi data you need directly into your iPad. Once you start dealing with multi-iPad setups, things get a little different, and it's obviously a little different depending on the iPad you have, because I have a first generation iPad acting as my groove box. This gives a direct audio out to my interface. If I had a newer generation of iPad that didn't have an audio out, I would need some sort of audio interface in order to have the Midi and audio coming at the same time, because that wouldn't be possible without some sort of outward audio jack of actual physical form. It could be a simple interface with just MIDI in, MIDI out, and a dual 1-2 channel stereo out. That's all you would need, something very simple. But you would need an audio interface to go into your second audio interface if you had a second generation iPad Pro acting as like your groove box, something that you want to send MIDI to send MIDI to other gear like I use in this setup. Since I have a first gen iPad Pro, which has the audio out, I can go around that. My Novation Impulse coming in here, and then my white wire is MIDI out going to my hardware, Synthesizers. So I have audio going directly into my audio interface, MIDI coming in, and MIDI coming out. Again, if I had a newer iPad, I would need some sort of interface in order to do that. So I just wanted to throw that out there for somebody who might have a second generation iPad who doesn't have an audio out and is thinking of doing some sort of setup like this. Now, when it comes to my second iPad, I have it directly wired into my audio interface, and it records all the audio inputs from all my hardware synthesizers, from Core Gadget, or from anything else I put on the iOS ecosystem into the iPad. I'm pretty content with just 2 iPads. I think I don't need to go any more beyond this. 2 is more than enough for me to work with within the iOS ecosystem. One as almost, like I said, a groove box, and one as a multi-track recorder. I'm able to push both these iPad Pros very, very hard on the individual programs they have, and they have not ever stonewalled me yet. So I am very happy with the performance that I got. I actually got a steal of a deal on the second iPad Pro, so I really can't complain about that at all. I just figured I would throw this out to anybody who might have 2 iPads, who is thinking of buying a second iPad, who might have saw this in my setup, that noticed that I had 2 iPads. I want to explain why I have 2 and kind of tell the differences in the setup and the wires, because there would be some differences if you only had one iPad and you wanted to hook the whole thing up to record and do what I do. I hope this video helps some people. It might be a little bit of a long one, but I really hope that it helps somebody. But as always, I need to say thank you to my patrons. My patrons support me massively, push me forward, motivate me to make content daily. Thank you so much, guys. And as always, stay positive, stay creative, support each other, and peace.